I'm writing a book at the moment about fatherlessness and what has fueled fatherlessness in Britain and has basically really why some fathers abandon their children. And the book is nearly done and I'm editing a part of the book where I'm talking about the role of family. I'd like to read you something from it. Let me remind us all of something we often forget when we're working with families from diverse backgrounds. In many Black communities, for example, children are raised with the expectation that wealth flows upwards, not downwards. Parents raise their children not just to become independent, but to become their retirement plan. These children are not raised to provide emotional, financial, no, sorry. These children are raised to provide emotional, financial, and sometimes even physical care for their parents in old age. They're not raised to think independently, they're raised to repeat. This isn't always framed as control, but the impact is often the same. When your child is your long-term safety net, you can't afford for them to be too independent, too individual, too distant. Their autonomy becomes threatening. Their decisions, who they marry, what job they choose, whether they choose to move away or not, are no longer about them. The result is often enmeshment, guilt, and emotional blackmail masked as loyalty. Now, add another layer to that, which is that of the patriarchy. In many parts of the world, boys are still prioritized over girls. Families invest in sons, paying for their education, encouraging them to pursue careers as doctors, lawyers, engineers, while daughters are expected to stay at home, help out, and take on caregiving roles. Even today, in parts of Africa, South Asia, and the Middle East, this dynamic continues to shape the expectations families have for their children. And this is where things get particularly complicated for families living in the UK. You might think that you are meeting a Black, British, or Nepalese teenager in school and assume they're operating under the same British values of fairness, equality, individual freedom, but often their family systems are still heavily influenced by cultural expectations from outside of the UK. Because while they live under British law, their emotional and financial ties often stretch across borders. Their aunties, uncles, grandparents all still live in villages. The pressure they face doesn't come from Western culture, it comes from WhatsApp calls, visits back home, and the looming fear of disappointing generations of ancestors who don't share the same value system as we do here. In some communities, fathers are deliberately blocked out from seeing their children due to family or caste issues. This is particularly common in South Asian and Middle Eastern cultures, where entire families will unite to prevent a father from accessing his child if the mother's family disapproves of the relationship. What does this mean? Well, many men are given cultural and religious permission to be absent. Instead of being held accountable, they are protected by their families and communities. Woo! I hope when I publish the book, you're going to be able to read it. But as you can tell, it's going to be very controversial.